That car accident completely stopped me, took away 70% of my business that I created as a single mother, and left me in chronic pain, anxiety, depression, emptiness, loneliness. And the second car accident literally put me to my knees, and I had to like break down everything that I believed in, everything that I thought I knew. And I wasn't just healing from the car accident, I was healing from baggage from 20 years ago. If I believed in the empty cup, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I had to live in a abundance that I didn't even have. If I didn't find this tool to get my life back, it wouldn't work. And let me tell you, depression is, until you really experience it, we don't understand. I did not understand depression because, again, I have such a strong mind, and I would say, oh, mind over matter, go listen to some motivational. It's an excuse. It's not. And that's, what I've learned is don't judge until you walk in someone's shoes.
Let your light shine. Help others find their way out of the darkness. Extraordinarily inspiring stories from ordinary people like you and I.
I've been watching your dancing. Oh, I love it. It just so, you have that energy, just so vibrant and so happy, energetic. And then I love that energy. I'm just kind of very curious, Irene, what brings you that joy, that energy, that positive vibe?
12 years ago, I was in a car accident and I could not walk without pain. And I was a dancer, 2 left feet, but I'm moving around. I love salsa, I love music, I like international music. It's expression, right? Like I never cared. I just go out there and boogie down. And all that was taken away from me. And in my car accident. So I never thought I'd be able to do that again. And now that I can, and I had to really fight for it, I had to lose myself in that chronic pain and the depression and that anxiety and that hopelessness. So now I even live on a whole other level. I dance on a whole other level. I don't care I never cared what anybody thinks of me. I always walked to my own beat of the drum. That saying, black sheep of the family. Well, you're looking at it. And so when you have to fight for something, it makes it more important and you have more passion to do it, right? So my dancing comes from, I can move without spasming and shaking for hours. I move so freely, knowing that I couldn't do it. And if I did move even slightly, I would need a morphine drip. So that makes me happy, and it makes me joyful, and it makes me say, who the hell cares how I look? This song may not be appropriate, but you know something? 5 years ago, I could not take a step without crying.
Wow. I did. You had 2 accidents, didn't you? I remember.
Yes.
I saw somewhere.
Yes, I had a car accident when I was 23. And then my second car accident, 43. And I was celebrating my 43rd birthday, so 20 years apart. So the way I look at it, my car accident is, like a bookshelf, and the book holders that so, and in between is my life. So there's a beginning, and it's not an end, it is just a different beginning. And in between, I had to discover myself, and I had to lose myself. I had to surrender in many different ways. Had to learn the meaning of surrender. It's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. But being, Russian and strong woman, surrendering, and English is being my second language, surrendering, I don't surrender. I'm a strong Russian woman, and who surrenders, that means you're lost. but I had to, actually, the lesson came in one of the podcasts we were talking about. She was like, I'm so amazed how you gave yourself, and you said, God, okay, you decide. And she said, when you surrendered, I'm like, no, I didn't. What do you mean? I said, I didn't. I gave up, but didn't, surrender. And she's like, no, when you prayed the way you did, and you said, God, you make the decision. Here's one. And then, that little voice deep down inside, and she reminded me because I shared the story from the first car accident. And she said, that was God talking to you, saying one more prayer. And, there was this little voice saying one more prayer. So I prayed very specific, and I gave choice to the universe, higher power, whoever is there. I'm not quite sure who's there, but someone. So, yeah. So it's all kind of a perspective when you go through difficult moments. We don't get those things when life goes beautifully all the time. And I don't wish anybody to struggle, but when you have a little bit of that, life becomes even more worth living.
It's I wonder, because you said about you're a very strong Russian woman, right? And I wonder, what do you think of the two accidents? What do you think of what they are there to teach you? Or do you look at their lessons? There's lessons for you to learn?
Oh, of course. Lessons of surrendering, number one, right? Because I am so strong. It's hard for me to ask for help. It's hard for me to rely on someone. The first car accident, I was 23 years old. That's the moment where that was my first rebirth. That's the moment where I decided I was going to get divorced. I never wanted to really get married. Kind of was forced into it because, Russians, whatever, 23. And if you're an old woman, basically you're like nothing, right? Like 23, like you don't even know what's going on. And here you are. I got married at 21, actually. And I was dating somebody that wasn't Russian, wasn't from my culture, American Jewish boy, but whatever. And they're like, well, you can't date. It's been 9 months. Why people are talking, the neighbors are talking. So I had to take my life back. And the only way I could do it is when it's something like, God forbid, car accident. But it happened. The car accident happened. I had out-of-body experience. I actually went through the tunnel and I saw God. And I came into the room and I saw myself miserable. And then I saw myself running through fields of flowers. And I didn't want to go. It was the most peaceful, I don't know, few seconds of my life. It was warmth. It was peace. I was loved. And then God said to me, you need to go back. You need to go teach. You need to go learn. You need to go find your voice. And that's exactly what happened. I found my voice. I got divorced. I had to divorce my mom and my husband simultaneously.
What does that mean, divorcing your mom?
Meaning that I had to cut the umbilical cord from her. She was the very possessive, very opinionated, very strong woman, Russian woman, argumentative, not understanding how I live my life. I broke all the rules, and it's to her, she follows them, right?
Okay, so basically she tells you, or she told you what to do.
And I never did. I lived my own way. And so the conversation there was, I really need to go learn, and you need to go teach. And I'm like, where am I? I know I have a lot to learn, but where am I going to teach? And God said to me, you're going to lead people to their light. You're going to help people heal. I'm like, what? Like, what? He's like, you're going to inspire people. I'm like, this is the conversation with God. It's so bizarre. And I'm Jewish and I saw Jesus, and that experience was, and then I thought I was atheist. So we can have 3 podcasts on that. fell on. And it was just that knowledge of finding my spirituality on a deeper level, right? You know, living in Russia, I was discriminated. I was Jewish. Coming to America, nobody cared about it, but they cared I was Russian. So I had to find my own way. And in the end, then to me, religion was like separation, not inclusion, because everybody has their own book. My book is better than your book. This book is, you know, if you don't follow this, you know, and I had to find my own way, and I had to learn how to have a relationship with God in my own personal way. So that was really, really big. And so there was a lot, like, you know, finding my voice, standing my ground, doing what I need, living in my own purpose. That was the first in car accident. And then I kind of failed it, and then I kind of didn't practice what I preach. I stopped learning, I stopped guiding, I stopped healing. I'm a hairdresser, so in my chair is always about that, healing, growing. You know, it wasn't just about the haircut, it was about the whole person, mind, body, and soul. And I also kind of procrastinated in my life, and I had to do things and I didn't do them. I just talked about it. There was no action. And I believe the vibration that you send out is the vibration that you get back. For me, mind, body, and soul. If you only speak and you know, think about it, but there's no action or other way around, whatever combination, it doesn't work. So I said, my business is booming. I was really busy. I was like waiting list. And then I had energy vampires. And I had like people that taking advantage of me. And I would kept on saying, I need to change this. I need to work smart and hard, not hard. I mean, I love what I do. There's a point to it. And I didn't do any of it. So I didn't practice what I promised in my first car accident, right? I was going to lead, I was going to nurture, I'm going to bring people to their healing. And I wasn't doing anything. I was going to live in my true purpose. I'm not going to take advantage of, I'm not going to let people take advantage of me. You know, it's hard for me. I'm empathy. So I just want to give. So when my second car accident happened, the moment it happened exactly the same way, T-boned, exactly the same way. The first thing in my mind was not if I was okay. I'm like, okay, I get it, God. I didn't do what I was said I was going to do. So you know what happens? I'm not saying you need a bad thing to happen, and not bad things don't happen so you can move, but bad things happen to shake you up a little bit out of your comfort zone. And I understood that I was saying and just talking about it, but not putting action to it. That something had to switch in order for me to take those actions, work smarter, not harder, saying no more, taking self-care, giving time for myself. And that's what happened. The car accident completely stopped me, took away 70% of my business that I created as a single mother, and left me in chronic pain, anxiety, depression, emptiness, loneliness. I lost my mindset. I lost my faith, my hope. I lost myself. I felt broken. It was tough because I've been in difficult situations, but never like this. You know, if I lost my mind on my way, I had money to seek help, you know, go see a therapist, whatever, do something like that. But here I had none of that. Like finance was gone, mental was gone, emotional was gone, you know, chronic pain. I was left with doctor's appointments and ER. And so it was really hard. And then my body was so tired from being in pain that it created this mechanism where I shook for hours, like I said before, and spasm. I don't know if you saw that video of me, where I shake, right? And then I put my socks on or a patch and it all stops. If I didn't find it, I wouldn't be speaking to you today. 5 years ago, I prayed to die, like I said, and then I prayed for miracle, because I could not be a burden to my daughter. She took care of me.
Oh, I You obviously are such a strong woman. That's why you've been given these two opportunities, because I believe in and God trusts you that you are strong enough to handle them. That's how I interpret. And then you can learn from it, and then you can come out and then even stronger, and then you will be able to help other people who well, maybe even prevent them from going through what you've been through.
And I have a interesting that's a very interesting thing, because I feel like we can learn a lot on other people's mistakes, but certain things you have to go through.
That's true too. Yes.
Right. I fight that with my own self, because I feel like, why do we have to suffer? We can learn from some other people's mistakes. And when I made the decision, and some of the lessons that you have to learn on other people's mistakes, it's amazing, right? It's amazing, that too. But there's certain things that you really have to go through to really understand what it means to, like, I don't want anybody to lose anything, but when you lose something, you appreciate it more. You may never get back, but the lessons through it, the healing process, the ego that has to be let go, the acceptance of that you made some mistakes, forgiveness that comes out of that, right? It is so knowledgeable. And the second car accident literally put me to my knees, and I had to like break down everything that I believed in, everything that I thought I knew. And I wasn't just healing from the car accident, I was healing from baggage from 20 years ago, because you kind of put it in a place, but it's superficial. And then I had to like say, okay. And 2 years into my, maybe a little more, well, more than I don't know, it's the last 5 years. So within 2 years, when I prayed and I got my magic socks, and I was sitting talking to the woman that changed my life, Kim, that light bulb came. The reason I was in a car accident, and how I'm going to bring the people to the light, how I'm going to show people how to celebrate themselves and heal themselves and allow themselves just to be free. That car accident had to happen, right? Do you see how all of the, like, I was doing great, but I still was missing that part, how I was going to inspire people, because God said you're going to inspire people. So my car accident was the inspiration, and that gift from God, bizarre way, that came to me. It all made sense. My magic socks were part of the journey to help people, through my car accident, through praying, to losing faith, to saying that last prayer a million times over. And this one particular prayer answered it. And then we had a discussion about that whole journey, and how the stranger came into my life, and how mean I was to her. She still stayed. It was like, oh my God, that's it. I could not help people unless I went through this physical breakdown, emotional, mental, financial.
I can't just imagine how that you've been through so much, but you're so vibrant. You're just full of joy.
I was a very happy-go-lucky person before the car accident.
Okay, so in general, normally.
In general, I always saw single mother all my life. I had to stay positive. I had to have a really strong mindset. I had to visualize that rent, that diapers, that whatever I needed. I had no help, from anyone pretty much. So the glass was always overflowing, and that's the brain. That's how I lived, even though it was super empty. But I had to, if I believed in the empty cup, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I had to live in a abundance that I didn't even have. So that mindset was always there. Like I didn't know how else to live, especially being the black sheep of the family and the community. I wanted to be a hairdresser. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't care about getting married, and I was forced kind of into marriage. I didn't care about having a husband. I was going to have a baby on my own. Like, I kind of live out of the box, not inside the box. So I had to have like really strong conviction, right? Like, and after the first car accident, that really, I found my voice, and I'm like, I'm done. I died. I should have been dead. They caught me with Joseph Life. There's no fooling around. I work hard, I play hard. It was just always there. My father was the most optimistic person ever. He always said, everything's gonna be okay. Don't worry. Everything's gonna be okay. So yes, but car accident, second one, took all of that away. It took all of that away. Depressed, anger, pity parties, they're wonderful. When you sit there and go, why me? First time ever, why me? You sit there and go, I can't do this anymore. Why is bad things happen to me all the time? I went through 43 years of like, why? I've never said that before, and I've been in some difficult situation. But again, sometimes you have to really fall apart, and then I think in Japan they say broken pieces and they put it into gold and it become masterpiece, right? So, and I love that. And that's kind of how I feel, all of the broken pieces been glued together, and this is the best version of me by far. When you struggle, when you lose your business that you built, when you lose your American dream, when you lose your identity, I still mourn that. I've been hairdresser for 38 years. I knew I was going to be hairdresser at 11. And when you see what you built, sorry, it's hard to talk about that. And I shared so much, you would think it becomes easier, but it doesn't. It's like, therapy 3 times a day. I don't have to pay anyone. And it's tough. It's tough to see that disappear, right? Now it's much easier because I worked through the feelings and emotion. But before, when I opened my book and see that emptiness, and when it used to be packed and full of life, it's a different way of life. Now it's life, but the appointment is different. I spin it in a different perspective. This hope.
So what pulled you out of that pity parties, the angry Irene, the complaining and depressed?
My customers, they actually use the same words that I used on them. It's just a moment. Giving up is not an option. Baby steps better than no steps. And yeah, the glass may be empty, but it's overflowing.
Your customers, hairdresser customers?
Hairdresser.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
I used to tell them that. In my chair, if they were going through a difficult moment, so they would call up and go, Irene, I need my hair done. Come on, it's just a moment. Let's go. So that reminded me that, yes, it's just a moment. And look, it was a difficult time. It didn't bring me full forward. It just gave me a little bit ease that I repeated that over and over and over. And but again, if I didn't find this tool to get my life back, it wouldn't work. And let me tell you, depression is, until you really experience it, we don't understand. I did not understand depression because, again, I have such a strong mind, and I would say, oh, mind over matter, go listen to some motivational. It's an excuse. It's not. And that's, what I've learned is don't judge. Until you walk in someone's shoes, you cannot understand anything that somebody goes through. You have to really feel it. And I've learned to kind of not judge people and their journeys. And, and again, until you experience depression and anxiety and PTSD, we do not understand what the meaning is and the struggle to live in it.
It's so interesting how the universe gives you messages, right? You're 54, my daughter is 8. And this morning she told me exactly the same thing, because we watched a video about a mom just at the start sounds so terrible. And then I didn't even want to watch it. And I said, oh, that kind of mom. And then in the end, and I asked her, I said, what happened in the end? And she said, the mom, and she'd been through a lot. She was a single mom, and that's why. And she explained to the daughter why she did what she did. And then I said, so what did you learn from it? And then she said, don't judge. And you just said, don't judge unless you walk in people's shoes. And I thought, oh, wow. A 54-year-old and an 8-year-old said exactly the same thing. It's really,
oh my God, goosebumps.
I know, how amazing.
I love when that happens. Look, there's no coincidence. The universe brings the alignment perfectly.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what is the tool, or what other tools, or the magic socks? I think I heard somewhere.
Yeah, so I call them my magic socks, big God gift from them. So it's a here, let me share with you. So it's a sock, and you see that little orange patch?
Yes.
That's a neurological wearable technology. So this is a QR code to your brain.
Yeah.
So what happened, as you saw in my video, when I put the sock on, it's triggered the response in my feet. Sensory. Skin is sensory. It's all sense. It's touch, right? And it triggered the response in my brain stem and central nervous system, and put it in homeostasis, and changed my world in 7 seconds.
Okay.
What doctors could not figure out in 5 years.
Okay. So you were depressed and you were angry, you complaining, all the things. And you understood because you went through depression. Now you have empathy for other people who are going through depression. But when you were in that dark moment, and then your customers kind of got you out to Irene, come and help me, and then you went out and serve other people, then you kind of walk out of the door of your bedroom or your house. But then something else happened. The tools that you mentioned, the magic socks. How did you find out? What else happened?
My friend that I told you that walked into my life right in the car accident, she found them for me. I mean, I was looking for many tools. I mean, I used, again, you have to remember, I couldn't move too much. I went to work on Vicodin and Norco and muscle relaxers and Cymbalta. I was 90% of the time I was high working. And so I went and I came home. I didn't go anywhere else because I never knew when the shaking would start. So, but I tried everything, holistic approach, meditation, affirmation. I hated all of that. As much as I loved it before, none of that worked. Again, it's hard to explain how those tools did not work, because they do work when you're sort of depressed, right? Like if you're just beginning or there's something uncomfortable, right? But for me, none of that worked, because combination of mixing drugs in your depression, the ones that I was taking, made me suicidal. So if it wasn't for this technology balancing my neurology, because everything happens in your brain, depression, anxiety, pain, all of it, lack of sleep, all its neurological disconnection, healthy neurology, healthy life, right? I would not be here sitting here talking to you. Doctors told me I was going to be in a wheelchair, that I'm not going to really, get used to this. And when doctors tell you that, I gave up. And when you give up, it's hard to live in giving up mode. Nothing's interests you.
So how, just those socks that you just showed me, you put them on and they're all the pain's gone?
All the pain, all the pain is gone. 18 months of wearing that technology, it created 90% of neuroplasticity. So meaning when the brain, your neurology works on optimum results, everything else works in optimal results. So it's like a key to your brain. It opens it up, and then everything functions how it's supposed to. It gives this boost to your neurology, and my own body start healing itself. Otherwise, it was off balance, right? That flight and fight in the brain, put it down, neutralized it, and the technology helped with the depression. As when the nervous system is in balance, all of the other organs, brain functions, everything else works better. So yes, it helped overall wellness. 18 months, 24/7, created 90% of neuroplasticity, healing of the brain. My issues that I had prior to finding this technology will never come back unless I hurt myself again. permanent change neurologically.
Okay, so does that mean you still have to wear the shoes? I'm sorry,
I-
you wear
I-
the socks, or you don't have to wear the socks?
I will never ever be without this technology, because it's not about pain. It's about having your neurology function on optimal level. So every single human that has a brain, I make fun of it, benefits from it. It doesn't matter. I have a excessive case that it helps, but it helps every single person on where they are neurologically.
Okay.
Not about issues, about balancing your so I'm in homeostasis, balance of the brain neurologically, right? So let me explain better way. So I am on my favorite beach drinking a martini, and you neurologically, without even realizing, your brain is on the busiest freeway wherever you live at traffic time. That's how your brain functions. 99% of humans function on a freeway at peak time on the busiest freeway. So the brain is not neurologically balanced. Most of the world.
Okay, so what you're saying is, in general, we get really busy and then we get into this fight mode, and then
yes,
we are too busy thinking about things and wanting to do something, and then what you're saying is, you're on the beach, is you relax, you find that inner peace, and you're not rushed.
I'm not rushed. Everything out, the stress, all these little things, it's much, let's say, before would be level 8. Now it's maybe 2.
Okay.
Do I get a head? Yeah. Do I get a headache? Do I get a backache once? Yes, of course. This is just as we age, everything deflates, right? This keeps me not deflated. This keeps me really, it's like almost aging backwards. I say I look younger now than I did before.
Oh, wow. I want to know more about that.
Yeah, no problem. But it's not about it. Technology is amazing, but for me, it's not about this product per se. Even though I joined the company and I decided to share, like I promised God, my message is that whatever you're struggling with, wherever you're praying for, make sure you keep an open mind, because it doesn't come how we pray. It comes how God or universe or whatever you believe in delivers it to you. Never thought a pair of socks is going to change my life. I was waiting for a pill, for a surgery, for a procedure, for something that we're used to being through medical field. I didn't think the holistic approach that is drug-free, non-invasive, no chemicals, no side effects. I wear socks anyway, right? Why not? So hope, you have to hold on to it. You have to hold on to faith. So, yes, I have this incredible thing that changed my life, but the journey is about how I got to it, that I did give up, that I did struggle, that I did ask why me, but here I am on your podcast. That I wasn't buried, and I felt like I was buried, but I was planted for something more beautiful. Just like God told me in the first car accident, I'm going to bring hope, light, to the world, and I'm going to inspire them not to give up, to, stay in their faith or find their faith if they lost it. So I almost sometimes don't even like to mention it, because people are so curious about it. And it's the whole point of me getting to it. This is the side effect of having faith, right? And, maybe refinding faith, because I lost that faith. I prayed to go, but here I am.
Wow. I love it. I love how you bring it back to the process, not just the end product, the end results. I am.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am very curious about the socks now, because originally I thought, okay, so they must have something that would help, because like acupuncture, I kind of understand it. You stimulate certain points, and then that help your body. But still, it's pretty magical, or a miracle, like a miracle. But now what you're saying is more than just for people who have chronic pain. It's even for you to find inner peace.
Oh yeah, and we actually, well, I mean, again, I don't like to talk about all this product because my thing is about not giving up hope. But yes, we have 10 different products, you know, optimizing your immune system. This is cognitive function, everything that has to do with cognitive, ADHD, PTSD, processing information, memory law, right? Memory loss, memory, keeping the memory, remembering, kids, every single human needs it. So we have a peace patch for stress. I mean, we have addiction patch. I mean, we have so many incredible people. There's billion people cannot sleep. We have a patch for sleep. I mean, it's all drug free, all non-invasive, no chemicals, no side effects. So yes, it's more than, as we laugh now, this is phone level 5 and this is 14.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of those stuff. Okay.
That's
So
okay.
yeah, but back to the socks. I'm just very amazed at what. So you said about it took 18 months, or you
For
had
me,
yeah.
it took 18 months of consistent wear. I didn't know it was going to help me. The first 8 months, 9 months, I took the socks off. I still shook. I still had pain. As long as I was in the socks, my brain was in balance. I was okay. Yes, there was inconveniences because the way this technology works is it scans your brain consistently. It never stops working. So wherever it sees the fire, that's where it goes. And I had a lot, I mean, L1 through 5, lumbar tear, sympathetic nerve damage. All of those things was happening neurologically. The pain was on fire. That's why I was shaking, right? As you saw me. So sometimes it would make more pain, but I understood it was going to the area and it's focusing on that inconvenience. It's, you say, do you still wear the socks? Absolutely, because it's consistently balances me, right? It's, consistently keeps me in that optimum neurology, physiological and homeostasis, cognitive function, cognitive homeostasis, physiological homeostasis, and neurological homeostasis.
Okay. So for the first 8 months, and then you didn't really
oh no,
it worked.
No, it worked amazingly as long as I was in it. But if I removed it,
yeah,
it was still there. I mean, look, if I could do Oxycontin, did nothing. My epidurals only last me barely, right? So, and again, I doubted it. I didn't talk about it for a long time. I went to Europe. I did not get my 10th epidural. I went with a couple of pair of socks and some Advil, but tourists going to Amsterdam and Paris, 18-hour flight. You walk in there, and I was like, oh my God. And then I did a brain mapping. We do a brain mapping, and it actually showed how my brain has changed. In 7 months, it was still really much on fire. Even with my socks on, there was so much, disconnection that the doctor that did this was like, I've never seen this. I've been doing this for 40 years or 30 years, whatever. And he's like, this is insane how your brain is still on fire. And this is keeping you together. Now I understand why you were shaking, because even with this, you're calm, but internally you're still, he couldn't,
too busy.
Forget it. He couldn't, it was just, wasn't visible, but it was neurologically visible. And then 18 months later, I was better. My neurology was better without the socks than with the socks 18 months later.
Okay. I'm just trying to comprehend it.
It's too much. I will send you a video.
That's okay.
I'll send you a video.
So what you're saying is, when you first try them on, and then when you put the socks on, they worked as like a painkillers. They relieved your pain straight away?
Instantly for me.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember, it's drug free. So there's no medicine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
immediately.
But if you when you took the socks off, and then you went back to your normal, shaking and doing all the things and then pain, and then you wore those socks for 18 months?
Oh no, I never stopped wearing them. It's just what happened is I went to take a shower. So what happened was it was like slowly. So, I got up, I changed my socks to a different pair. I needed to take a shower, right? And I've been showered in them because I would always be afraid I was going to fall, and I didn't know when my shaking would start. So what happened is just like 6, 7, 8 months into it, I took the socks off. Oh my God, I was like, didn't even pay attention to it because I wasn't shaking. I was like 30 minutes without it. Oh my God. And then I didn't pay attention to it. And then I did it again. Right. Not thinking about it. Right. Because I wasn't shaking. So it was like, okay. And then one time it was like maybe 12 months into it or so, I fell asleep. It was so hot in LA and I didn't have my socks on. And then I woke up in the morning and I kind of was like twerking, I was like, oh my God, I've been with them for almost 24 hours. And I didn't, it only started now, right? And then, because my videos are so insanely crazy that people always call, I mean, how are you doing now? What month are you? Can you take this on? And those videos really painful. I have 4 of them because when I made them, it really, like, it would put me out for 3 or 4 hours. It's physically, emotionally, it was hard. It was hard.
Okay. Yeah, I could say I look at, we're shaking, but look a little bit like dancing, but not just joyfully dancing. That's like a painfully dancing.
There was no joy in it.
No.
At all. And because of that, right? I was bullied. I wasn't believed. I was called very mean names. And it brings you back to don't judge book by its cover. Don't judge someone until you walk in somebody's shoes. You don't understand what's happening does not mean it's real. Have a conversation. And I paid for 2 brain mappings to show people this is exactly what's happening. There's a doctor explaining the neurology. I'm not a doctor. I don't know neurology, but doctor is breaking it down and showing you and explaining to where my brain was neurologically and where it is now and what happened and why it happened. I had to have that because I was called some terrible names.
Because you're wearing this, because you're telling the people
the
about
story, because I was sharing, because I will show the video and they're like, oh, you're dancing. How dare you do this? How you dare milking people? I'm like, I'm $17,000 in debt because I've tried everything under the sun. I am not milking anyone. I'm not selling anything. Yes, I'm selling, but I'm just want to give you another option, right?
You're sharing your stories. You're sharing. You're sharing the joy.
It took, look, I didn't know how I was going to do it because part of my sharing my story is selling a product. And it really, it was hard because I know how the community struggles and I know how I was preyed on by all kinds of people and I didn't want to be that. And I had to really have a deep conversation with myself that first of all, I promised God, if he answers that I have to share it. And this was not comfortable for me to share it. And how do you share without sharing what gave me my life back? I don't know how much it's going to give you your life back, but I know it will help you. And I know that it costs money. And I had to have deep discussions with myself and I had to pray on it. And, my sister said, what are you doing? Like, you have something so powerful. And she brought it back to pharmaceutical. I'm not knocking them. We need them. I don't know what I would do with my epidural. They gave me a breathing room of 4 weeks or 5 weeks that I felt like a human being. I'm happy that we have those things. But she's like, nobody gives you money back. Nobody gives you nothing. Nobody, the pharmaceutical only want to give you a bigger dosage. They're not finding a solution. You're not asking anybody to buy anything. You're saying, here's what helped me. Would you like to know about it? You make that decision. And I had to really find a way to share it, authentically. And the only way to do it was to do those videos and show. But when you're living in your truth, this people come after you, right?
Again, interestingly, I'm going to share something that I talked with my daughter this morning. And
I love it.
it's so interesting. It just happened an hour and 2 hours ago. And we were talking something about how she said, oh, I'm a bit afraid of being told off by the teacher. And so we talked about, have you ever seen anybody been told off or something and an incident? And she brought it up. And then I said, let's have a think about it. We normally say hurt people. And then there must
oh my God, I said it all the time. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So the people who are like talking to her about the teachers, if they are yelling, if they're telling their kids off, so there's obviously a reason. And why could be. So we went through a lot of things and she came up with it. And then eventually we arrived at maybe the teacher was afraid of things, for example. And she said, maybe the principal will tell them off because the kids are now behaving themselves. Oh, what happened if the principal tells them off? Oh, maybe there's a rule. And then if their kids don't listen to them, maybe they get fired. What happened if they get fired? All those kind of things. Amazing. And then eventually, she arrived. Okay, so now we always understand when people are hurting you, you feel like hurt and you feel someone else trying to hurt you. And then let's find out what's hurting them rather than saying, oh, I am so sad because this person is not nice to me. And then so for you and I feel there's obviously a lot of people don't understand. Even me, I look and I thought you were a bit, and I wasn't saying you were faking or anything. No, I was just saying, oh, that's so interesting. Like it kind of like you were dancing, but definitely not like you're joyful dancing. So it does look like you were shaking. But again, I don't go judge anybody because I haven't walked in your shoes. I haven't been, but I'm very curious when you put the shoes and the socks on, and how you explained and how it worked for you. And then I generally believe in people, and I don't think people will try to do anything to hurt others. But then, so just for the other people, there's going to be lots of people. We don't know their stories.
No, we don't know the stuff. And listen, I look at my videos now. If I didn't go through that, I probably think, oh my God, like, I honor that, but what I don't honor is not having a conversation, right? And attacking. Yeah, this looks so crazy. I know, but let's talk about it, right? Like, let's have a conversation. Irene, what's happening to you? I can't, wow. One of the ladies said to me, actually, I tried to shake like you because I thought you were faking. I could not do it. And he's like, I didn't believe you. And then I went a little deeper and started looking through all your pages. And guess what? She doesn't take her socks off now. So, when you understand it, right? Like, and she's like, this is too good to be true. Doesn't. And I mean, the science is real. It's 45 years of science behind it, of neuromuscular stimulation. This paper's written on. It's just the CEO is just amazing decoder, and he just decoded the brain. He has a mission too. His mom was diagnosed of MS when he was 14, and he said, I'm going to help you, but did you know he's going to help me, right? And he went on the search of learning the brain, learning neurology, learning biology, reflexology. He studied, and had amazing people around him, neuroscientists, top of the line. It's private company. He doesn't answer to it. He does his own research, puts tons of money into it. We have all kinds of white papers and peer reviews and FDA registration, and UK did a study on us. And it's so hard for UK to publish anything in their journals, like medical journals. So, we can prove everything. And, at the end of the day, I say to people, you don't need to believe, right? But when you go to the store, to your doctors, right? You don't ask for white papers. You don't ask for side effects. The doctor gives you the side effects, and you say, thank you so much for your prescription. Let me go to the pharmacy and get the pain, that has liver damage, depression, bleeding, suicidal thoughts, right? Like, but you want everything in the kidneys to know about a drug-free product, right? So it's not funny, but it's funny. It takes a lot of education to teach people about holistic approach. And when we look into doctors, right, there we give so much, their gods to us. And what I've learned, that we give too much power to people, that and not, sometimes that happens, right? We give too much power to people that we think they're superior and should know more. But look, a doctor told me they could not help me, and their words mattered to me. I took it literally, and I've never given away my power like that ever in my life. But I was in such a vulnerable place that I took it as, face value, and I prayed to die. And I tried to sit there and looked at my pharmaceutical stuff and say, what combination and how many bottles of vodka that I have in my refrigerator is going to take me out, because I could not see my 11 years old at the time taking care of me for the rest of my life, especially if I will be in a wheelchair. So I thought she'll cry one time, mourn me, and at least she'll have a free life.
You know what, I the one word that one sentence that I say is, let your light shine, then there's no darkness.
Yeah.
I feel,
and
people will listen when they want to listen.
Yeah, and I say your darkest moment will become your brightest light. So when I read your name of your podcast, like, oh my God, we're saying the same thing, but in a different way.
It is actually the same thing. It is when you're when you go through the darkness, then you appreciate the light, and
That's
then
right.
you want to be in the light. Now you are bringing light to people who might still be going through. Remember, it's a process. Be going through the darkness. Then maybe it's just a matter of time that when people eventually, like yours, and you didn't immediately, you got the pain relief, but you didn't get the lasting results until 8 months, 7-8 months later.
18
months. Yes. So that's right. So it's a process. Maybe right now, people, I guess for me is, well, let my light shine, let other people say whatever they say. I walk my
agree. Yes, we have to just let it, what we have to train the world is not rely on so many opinions of others, right? Tony Robbins says, stop renting a space to people that don't deserve in your head. It's a really valuable real estate.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. Let's talk about something else. And I was very curious. I was going to ask at the start, but I kind of was so curious about the socks, because you keep saying magic socks. The hairdresser, when you were a hairdresser and you say something about mind, body, and soul, that's before your accidents, right?
Mm-hmm.
How did because for me, I go to a hairdresser, I get my hair done. I do. I talk to them about things if they were interested in.
In my chair, we chat about everything: mind, body, and soul, life, struggle, support system. It's not about just the hair. Haircut is free. I used to say haircut is a cost, but therapy is free. So my customers became my friends. I would go to their homes, to their parties. They came to mine. Not all, but there's a core of customers. When they came, it would be more than just a haircut. We go to lunch and we have coffee. They bring me lunch because they know I'm never sitting there running around like a crazy person. So it's a community. Everything I do is community. So my hair salon where I worked many different, and I owned my own, it was a community. So people came there. Is a safe place to talk and share their dark, deepest emotional,
How did you get people to trust you to talk about all those deep feelings?
I made them feel very comfortable. So when my first car accident was at 23 years old, right? So God told me that I have to inspire people. And that's what I did. I talked about my life.
Isn't it before your car accident, you had your hairdressing?
Yeah, I've been a hairdresser since I was 16 years old.
16. Okay. So before you had your accident, and then you're already talking about before you had your first.
It began deeper in level, but when I started doing hair at 16, 17, 18, I came to California at 18, I went full force. It didn't matter. I talked about I was from Russia. I talked about life. I talked about, spirituality, books. And look, hairdresser, I had to read, because in my chair, I had a cleaning lady and I had a doctor. I had a waiter, and I had a lawyer. So I had to be aware of, did I want to read some things? No, but I had to be aware about worldly conversation. And I wanted men to feel very safe and comfortable in my chair. I talk about football, not sure what I was talking about, but I tried. So I made people feel very comfortable, and I'm a hugger. I treat people, excuse me, when they came to my place, very warm. It, smile. People can read your energy. And I think, when you pick the right hairdresser, not only your hair will look good, but your soul will shine.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh,
No, but
yeah.
It's true. I'm not being cliche or anything, and that's how I built. If people like, look, I told you that I had energy vampires, right? And I was trying to get rid of them. Meaning, there's a place and time that there were certain people should not sit in my chair. I was exhausted from them, but there was a lesson in that too, how to deal with them, how to have patience, how to have empathy, how to breathe. So you attract the right people for the lessons that you need to learn. So, and I mean, I had a very loyal business, very loyal. They stayed with me for till the end. When they couldn't do it, and I told them, my especially when my body was giving up and I started shaking, it was impossible for them to stay with me, because I would spend 3 or 4 days in the hospital, at least once a month.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But that tells something about you, like as a hairdresser, because I wouldn't kind of expect a hairdresser to talk about all the mind, body, and soul, that kind of thing. But you never know.
Yeah.
There's different. But yeah, I can.
Yeah. Everybody works different. Like, my customers came to the hospital. My customers brought me food when I couldn't move. I mean, again, and I did the same thing for them. It is a community. I care about people. I'm a human connector. I love people. In a hairdresser business, you have to, if you're dealing with people, you have to love them. People feel your energy, and by hello, if you're comfortable with them or not. And listen, I had customers said, Irene, you're overboard for me. Your happiness is too much. I cannot sit in your chair. You just weigh on a whole other level of joy. And something, they left me. And some of them came back later and said, I so appreciate all the things that you've said to me. I could not deal with it because you deal with it so with ease, and you so open about it, and you just sit into the nail, and it made me uncomfortable within myself. You didn't make me uncomfortable. I made myself uncomfortable because you were talking to things that I am not doing in my life, and you're like, you need to stop procrastinating. You have goals and dreams. You need to go after them.
So that's you. That's who you are.
And then after the car accident, the first one, it was even more, because I was on this high. I saw God. I had out-of-body experience. I went through the tunnel. I saw the light. I met Jesus. I was at the gate, but I wasn't welcome yet. Did you have that experience? Like, I was very open about it. Like, oh my God, really? I only read this in the books. And then the people came into my chair that experienced that. And they're like, you're not crazy. That happened to me too. You're not crazy. That happened to me too.
Yeah, so I can feel them.
Right. So if I'm sharing, they want to share back. So it's great. I saved marriages. I told people to divorce. I knew when people would get engaged, and I told some guys, don't marry her, or a girl, don't marry.
I can feel your energy. I can feel your energy. So that's who you are. It doesn't matter what you do, really.
That's right.
A hairdresser, you can be a lawyer, a doctor, and selling the magic socks, and that's who you are.
Sharing magic socks.
Sharing the magic socks. Love it.
Sharing magic socks and touches now.
Okay, but your ultimate mission is
to change millions' lives, 1 million lives.
How?
Just like we're speaking, by my energy, by dancing, by sharing my inspirational messages, by telling people impossible is possible. You're not buried, you're planted. Stop with excuses, start with action. I tell people, you need to unlearn everything that you've learned till now, because you know something, you cannot live a full life if you're in a box, mentally and emotionally, right? You have to think out of the box. Stop being so afraid of other people judging you. And you know, I mean, this is what I do all day long, is inspire people. Like people who, oh my God, I mean, you everywhere I turn, you're on this platform and this platform. I said, yeah, I am on a mission. Nobody knows about you. You know, my business is not growing well because nobody's seen you. But I don't want somebody to unblock me or unfollow you. Who cares? Are they paying you rent?
I love that. I love that.
Right?
What's your business? So you're in this the socks. What do you call that? Is there a name for it?
Yes, of course. It's Super Patch / Box Life. Yes, and I became a partner. You know, it's a network marketing company, but it's so much more than that. I mean, this is a company where CEO says it's for everyone. And he means it. He just lowered the price of the socks a few months ago and the patches. He made it even more affordable for the masses to have. So yes, it is a business, but it's truly it's exactly what I prayed for. I prayed for a company with mission, purpose, and passion. I mean, it's not only about the bottom line, but it's actually about the people first. Not only he did that, he also just lowered, like, you know, the volume that we need to get to the next place, and we have bonuses. And he said, if I created bonuses, then nobody receiving them, there's something wrong. Bonuses meant to be collected. If as a CEO, if you're not collecting bonuses, I'm doing something wrong. So he slashed the volume that we need to get to the next level. So people are getting bonuses now. I don't know any company that does that.
Wow, that's beautiful.
He just lowered the price to join and gave you $75 worth of product with it. I don't know any company that does that. So, you know, God, universe, whatever energy you pray to is powerful. You just have to. It's hard to trust it in a difficult moment, but I want to tell you, just breathe, be patient, lean into that pain, lean into the struggle, because that's where you're going to find your purpose, your passion, your healing, your forgiveness, your why, your dream. We don't become leaders, not leaders, like we'll find our purpose in the struggle, right? We become advocates when we lose something, right? Or something doesn't go our way. That's only one really, like really emerge in it. I volunteer, I do things, but not until you really experience it within yourself that it affects you personally, when you're really personally invested. So just learn from that struggle, answers in your struggle.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
And then you take that step, and you're gonna, you know, come out of the darkness into the light.
Let your light shine.
Yes, let your light shine.
What do you think the meaning of life is? You said the meaning of life is health. Health is the most important thing. Why is health so important?
If you don't have health, you're poor. You're poor, you have nothing. All the money in the world will not make you happy. Health is wealth. You don't have health, you can't function. That's where depression comes in. That's where loneliness comes in. People don't want to be around you.
What's the one last message you want to share with everybody?
Wherever you are is just a moment. Giving up is not an option. Baby steps better than no steps, and you will refill your cup. Even though it's empty, it will be refillable. And go out there and celebrate yourself every day. Life is precious.
Beautiful. I love your energy, Irene. Thank you so much for shining your light. That's it.
Thank you for letting me. Thank you for letting me shine my light with you. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you too.
Let your light shine. Help others find their way out of the darkness. Extraordinarily inspiring stories from ordinary people like you and I. I believe we are all extraordinary, yet we're all ordinary. Let your light shine. Let your light shine. Help others find their way out of the darkness. Extraordinarily inspiring stories from ordinary people like you and I. I believe we are all extraordinary, yet we're all ordinary. Let your light shine.